Greetings, choral music comrades. This is Larry Nichols standing on his balcony in Vancouver, British Columbia, located about 6,100 kilometers west of Halifax. Vancouver is a city where you can go water skiing and snow skiing on the same day. Some people went golfing on Christmas Day last year. And Vancouver is also a city where you can pay $1 million for a rundown shack. Vancouver is a city where Diane Loomer made her mark as a world-class choral director. I met Diane quite serendipitously at the airport in Paris one year, and that same September I sang low bass in the Corleone Men's Choir. We became good friends. In fact, I think she liked me better than anybody else. Or at least it felt that way, because you know Diane Loomer, she had a way of making people feel special and drawing the best out of her singers. With this short video, I'd like to give a tribute to Diane Loomer. Diane Mary Loomer, maiden name Colander, was born in St. Paul's, Minnesota in 1940 to an American-born Norwegian father and German mother. Neither her father, a mail clerk on the railroad, nor her mother completed high school, but both worked hard to put her and her older brother David through college. It was in the chapel of Gustavus Adolphus College where the vivacious brunette caught the eye of football-playing, glee club, and chapel choir freshman Richard Loomer. A week later, he threw a snowball at her and missed. 5 years later, in 1963, they married. She graduated with a B.A. in 1962 and taught high school math and English for 3 years in Denver, where she sometimes moonlighted in a piano bar by night. She supported Richard through medical school. He was recruited into the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War, and in 1966 had the good fortune to be stationed in Frankfurt, Germany. From a base there, they traveled all over the world. They returned to the United States in 1970 with a baby son, Daniel. Diane turned blonde, and they lived in Portland, Oregon for a year, where she worked as a ski instructor while Richard did an internship. In 1971, they moved to Vancouver so Richard could do his residency in orthopedic surgery at the University of British Columbia. When Richard completed his training, their son Daniel was 6. They decided it was Diane's turn. She enrolled at Douglas College to start a Bachelor of Music degree, thinking that she would teach high school again. Professor Richard Kitson thought that her charismatic, empathetic personality would make her a great choral director. So he asked her to conduct the newly formed Douglas College Community Choir. She led that choir until 1996. It was in 1987 she and Morna Edmondson, a former UBC classmate and singer in the Vancouver Chamber Choir, co-founded Electra Women's Choir.
Hello friends, it's great to be able to talk to you. It is Diane Loomer here and
Morna Edmondson,
sitting here together, reminiscing over the 22 years that we have spent together co-conducting the Electra Women's Choir and the remarkable journey that we have shared together, and sharing a glass of wine.
You bet.
As we relive these years together.
So put your feet up, relax. We're going to play you some wonderful music and share some memories of some of the high points of our 22 years. We should play a little piece of that. This is the movement called This Little Babe from Ceremony of Carols.
This little babe, so sweet and old, has come to ride full city's gold. All that the fat his breast is great, though he himself won't go to shame. For in this week unbounded wise, the gates of hell he will surprise. Testifies amidst the fields, in his restless roar she was like the shot of English cries, and there's a soul so free and brave, his social lips and sun is gleaming, and he will fetch his royal steed.
I remember meeting Diane in 1985. I was a freshly minted teacher, and she had just started a community choir in New West, and there were signs around, inviting anybody to come and join. And so I thought, what the heck, I haven't sung in a long time. But she looked at me and went, "You're a woman who'd like a challenge. We're meeting at my place to sing these songs." So I went, well, sure, okay, sounds like fun. And what a joy it has been.
My name's Paul Birch. When Diane was forming Corleone, she asked me if I would like to join, and I said, no, I'm too busy. She asked again, and I said, I'm still too busy. And then she baked a big batch of chocolate chip cookies and gave them to me, and I fell.
Hi, I'm Bruce Hoffman. I'm the manager of marketing, publicity, and patron relations for Corleone Men's Choir. And I sing second tenor in the choir, and I was recruited by Diane. At the end of their first year, I made the mistake of attending a concert and telling her how much I liked it, and she phoned me the next day and said, you're singing our next concert, which is a week away. And I said, how hard could this be? So I picked up the folder, and there was Russian and Japanese and Swedish and Finnish and all the languages that I usually sing, and I went, what have I gotten myself into? And that started a great musical friendship.
What a pleasure it was to meet and to encounter Diane and be with her each and every Wednesday night when Corleone Men's Choir had the privilege of being with such a remarkable woman.
It was like one big family, with Diane being the mother, and she kept in touch with us every week on emails and made sure we were looking after all the music and doing the right thing for the next week.
It seems to me that whenever she stepped into a room, there was an aura around her that just made everybody around her feel special, like they wanted to do their very best.
Diane picked me from the ranks of the Bach Choir, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly for 22 years, I think now. And we miss Diane terribly, terribly, terribly. Diane's joy, her smile, her excitement, her sense of adventure, and most of all her courage in just leaping into the unknown still lives in the choir.
One thing I remember about Diane that was really quite something was in the way that she conducted. I really enjoyed the fact that she could bring out a lot from you in a very subtle way, that she didn't have to be too demonstrative, but in a very calm and collected way, you knew what she wanted. And you always felt relaxed and not too panicky because of it.
One of my fondest memories of Diane was of her being carried across the stage at the Bard on the Beach tent on a pagoda as Cleopatra.
My name is Ann Andrew. I started singing seriously again when I joined Encore when Diane first started it. A great pleasure. My strongest memory of Diane is her great beauty of spirit, which she expressed frequently with, if you're not having fun, don't do it. Joy is the purpose.
Having a good time while pursuing excellence was a key part of Diane's strategy. Each year, Corleone put on a spectacular show in the tent by Kitsilano Beach, which is normally used for Shakespeare dramas. Everyone got dressed up according to the theme. Dick and Diane led the way. Dolly Parton. Immigrants from the Orient. Cowgirl. Carmen Miranda. Canadian music and culture were my favorite shows. I'm sitting behind hockey commentator Don Cherry, aka Dick Loomer, in this show. Diane really carried the torch for Canadian music with a long string of commissions for Elektra and Corleone. She was a fine composer too. Her arrangement of Alistair McGilvery's Away from the Roll of the Sea was a hit, and choirs from across the country were asking for it. So Dick said, we may as well form our own publishing company. Let's name it after the street that we live on. 24 years later, Away from the Roll of the Sea continues to sell well, with over 35 print runs so far. I was asked to take over Cypress Choral Music when Diane's life became too busy and when her energy was starting to wane. Even with failing health, Diane decided to form a new choir with people in her age category, Encore.
Hi, I'm Marnie Carter. I didn't know Diane very well until she formed this wonderful choir, and I was privileged to join it. It has given me great joy. She was a wonderful conductor, a most warm and lovely lady, and probably the most indefatigable woman I've ever met.
But what was surprising to me was how she always treated everybody else as remarkable. The audience, our singing, but she was the remarkable element.
My name's Don Harder. I worked for CBC Radio for about 30 years and worked with Diane a lot. After I retired, I started singing in one of her choirs, and as a singer, I've never ever wanted to do a solo. And there was a piece we're doing, it had a 4-bar baritone solo. Diane looked around the choir and said, "Don, I think you'll do a good job of this." And somehow, with absolutely no concern, I did a damn good job of it. Her trust in me was amazing.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but Diane was a real athlete. When she was younger, she skied, and she also taught skiing for a while. And she also swam. And later on, sometimes when she wasn't feeling so well, she would come over to our house and swim in our pool. It wasn't that it was the only pool that she had access to, it was just that she loved the temperature.
When Diane passed, I not only lost a most wonderful, treasured musician, friend, and colleague, but I also lost my very dear friend. We carry on singing Diane's compositions, arrangements, and her legacy continues in our voices and in our hearts.
My name is Carrie Tennant, and I was Diane's assistant conductor, and now I conduct Encore. I learned a lot from Diane, musical things, technical things, administrative and motivational techniques. But the thing that sticks with me the most is she taught me that the most important thing about making music was the people that you made it with. And so to always conduct from a place of kindness and joy.
Hello, my name is Eric Light, and I am the current conductor of Corleone Men's Choir. Diane Loomer was an inspiration to me for many, many years as I worked with male choirs, and I feel so fortunate to be working with her men and to continue her legacy here in Canada.
Diane and her choirs won many awards and recorded many CDs which are timelessly viable as the finest in choral singing. She was personal friends with famous artists such as director Clyde Mitchell and Christopher Gaze, the Bard on the Beach director, Robert Sund from Sweden, Bob Chilcott. And here she is posing with Prime Minister Jean Chrétien after receiving the Order of Canada.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Toop, and I serve as President and Vice Chancellor of the University of British Columbia. Every year at Congregation, UBC has the honor of bestowing honorary degrees upon individuals who, in the opinion of the university community, have fit the criteria of excellence and eminence in their chosen field. Diane Mary Loomer is one of those individuals, and I invite her now to step forward to receive her honorary degree.
Life is full of surprises, and this award of an honorary doctorate is certainly one of those remarkable surprises. If someone would have told me 25, 30 years ago when I graduated from UBC that I would be standing here accepting an honorary doctorate, I would have told them they were absolutely out of their mind. But dreams can come true. Dreams do come true. Dreams need belief, they need discipline, they need hard work, but they can come true. So on behalf of my family,
my singers, my beloved choir members who have led me to this august occasion, let me thank you for this wonderful honor.
From the age of 30, and while she built 5 choirs from the ground up, she lived through 4 potentially fatal health conditions: Hodgkin's disease, aortic stenosis, for which she received a valve replacement, congestive heart failure, and chronic renal failure. It was her breathing difficulties that finally caught up with her. People came from everywhere for Diane's memorial service. 300 people were turned away from the Chan Center, filled to capacity. Several conductors flew in to direct the mass choir. It was a celebration of her life. Here is Douglas Dunsmore leading one of Diane's favorite songs.
Say